If you're a nurse or healthcare professional and you've been told you need a ton of money saved up to buy a home, that's just not true. In fact, depending on your situation, you may be able to buy a home with little to no money out of pocket, even if your income includes overtime, shift differential, or travel contracts. And the problem is most lenders don't know how to qualify you, a nurse, correctly. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how the Nurses Home Loan Program works, who qualifies, and how much assistance you might be able to get for your help buying a house. Hi, I'm John Thomas, loan officer with Primary Residential Mortgage. I've been helping buyers in Delaware and Maryland and the surrounding area for over 20 years. And one of the biggest groups we help are nurses and healthcare professionals. And the reason is simple. Your income doesn't look like everyone else's. And that's the fact. You've got overtime typically, shift differentials, per diem income, travel contracts, sometimes even W-2 plus 1099 income, 312s. And most lenders either ignore that income or calculate it wrong. That's where this program comes in. What is the program? So what is the Nurses Home Loan Program? At its core, it's a mortgage strategy designed specifically for healthcare workers that combines flexible income, multiple loan options like FHA, VA, USDA, and conventional. And the best part, up to 5% down payment and closing cost assistance. That means you may be able to buy a home with significantly less money out of pocket than you think. How much assistance can you get with the Nurses Home Loan Program? Let's talk about people we really care about. How much money can I actually get? Well, depending on the program, FHA loan offers up to 5% of the purchase price for down payment and closing cost assistance. VA and USDA offer 1.5% to 2% assistance for closing costs. First-time homebuyer programs offer 3% for all loan programs and reduce interest rates on your mortgage. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Some of these options are forgivable, meaning you may not have to pay the money back, or they're repayable, but with no income limits. So there's flexibility depending on your situation. Why nurses get denied. Now, let me explain why so many nurses get frustrated when they try to buy a home. Traditional lenders are built for 9-to-5 salaried employees. That's not you. Here's what usually happens. Overtime can get ignored or not used. Shift differentials aren't counted correctly. Travel nurses with gaps raise red flags. Per diem income's completely left out. So what happens? You either get pre-approved for less than you should, or worse, you get denied entirely. And it's not because you don't qualify. It's because the loan just wasn't structured correctly. How the nurses program fixes that. What we do differently with this program is we actually understand how healthcare income works. We look at your full income history, consistency of overtime and differentials. We look at your contract-based employment for travel nurses, and it's okay to have gaps, combined income sources, and we build your loan the right way from the beginning. Who qualifies for the nurses program? Another big misconception, this is not just for registered nurses. You may qualify for the program if you're an RN or an LPN. A physical or occupational therapist, medical assistant, pharmacist, dental assistant, lab tech, radiology tech, chiropractor, and hospital employees. Basically, if you're a licensed or credentialed healthcare professional working in Delaware or Maryland, you may qualify for the program. All right, let's look at the program guidelines. Here's a quick breakdown of general guidelines for the Nurses Home Loan Program. Credit scores typically start around 580, but 620 plus is recommended for the best terms. Debt to income ratios all the way up to 56%. And it's not limited to first-time homebuyers, but you can only use it for a primary residence. And again, there's multiple loan types available: FHA, VA, USDA, conventional. All right, let me simplify this for you. Let's do a comparison. Here's the difference between this program and a traditional lender. With a traditional lender, overtime might not count. Travel gaps might get you denied. You need your full down payment and closing costs. With this program, income structured correctly. Travel nurses, totally understood and okay. You may qualify for up to 5% assistance for down payment and closing costs. That's a completely different outcome than a traditional lender. Let's look at a real example. Let's say you're a nurse making around $85,000 a year with some overtime and shift differentials. You might qualify for an FHA loan with only 3.5% down. And with the nurses program, you could get up to 5% down payment assistance, which means you could do little to no money out of pocket. Now, every situation is different, but this is happening every single day. What you need, if you're thinking about moving forward, here's what you'll need to gather for an appointment. Your recent pay stubs, typically most recent 30 days, your W-2s from the last 2 years, your final pay stub from the last year, any 1099 or tax returns if applicable, and employer contract if you're a travel nurse. Gap between contracts are normal. We just need to document them correctly. So here's the bottom line. If you're a nurse or a healthcare professional and you've been told you don't qualify, you need more money saved, or you're looking for a special program because you're a healthcare professional, or your income's too complicated, maybe you need a second opinion. Call me directly at 302-703-0727, or you can apply online at prmiloanapplication.com. We'll review your situation, walk you through your options, and show you exactly which program under the Nurses Home Loan Program you qualify for. No cost, no obligation.